I'm going to call the meeting to order. Ms. Mayfield, roll call, please.
President Oshinsky,
Present.
Vice President Tate, Board Clerk Sheridan,
Present.
Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Pearl, Trustee Pearl,
Present.
Student Board Member Trustee Proctor. All board members and student board member present.
Thank you, Ms. Mayfield. Next, report on closed session action. The Board of Education took the following action in closed session in accordance with Government Code Section 54957B and Government Code Section 54956.95 to appoint Michael Tyson Yee to the position of Associate Principal at FTK by a 7-0 vote. This item was moved by Trustee Parola and seconded by Trustee Gonzalez. Second, to reject liability claim 615424 by a 7-0 vote. This item was moved by Trustee Aguilar and seconded by Trustee Sheridan. The board has directed the superintendent and or designee to deliver the proper notification to the affected parties. Next, Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Sheridan, can you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Sheridan. Next, mission statement. Trustee Gonzalez.
The mission of the San Leandro Unified School District is to educate students to achieve academic excellence in order to become confident, collaborative, and engaged citizens in a community rich in heritage and diverse in culture, where we value our traditions and embrace innovation.
Thank you, Trustee. Next, we have the equity statement. Trustee Tate.
The Board of Trustees believes that the diversity that exists among the district's community of students, staffs, parents, guardian, and community members are integral to the district's vision, mission, and goals. Addressing the needs of the most marginalized learners requires recognition of the inherent value of diversity and acknowledgement that educational excellence requires a commitment to equity in the opportunities provided to students and the resulting outcomes.
Thank you, Trustee. Next, legal statement. Members of the audience who wish to address the board are asked to complete the yellow card available at the entrance and submit it to the board's executive assistant. Speakers who have completed the card will be called when the items reach on the agenda or for non-agenda items during the public testimony. Cards are to be turned in before the items reach on the agenda. Please note that the meeting is being recorded. State law prohibits the Board of Education from taking any action on or discussing items that are not on the posted agenda, except to A, briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public in attendance, B, ask questions for clarification, or C, provide a reference to a staff member or other resource for factual information in response to the inquiry, or D, ask a staff member to report back on the matter at the next meeting and or put on a future agenda. Government Code 54954.2. Ms. Mayfield, do we have any comment cards? Thank
Do
you.
not.
All right, next, high school report. First up, we have Hawken.
School report.
Excuse me, school report.
Hi, good evening. Well, Hawking is in the house tonight. If you look behind me, we've got family, community, teachers here to honor a student. I'll get to him in just a moment. But before that, I would like to tell you a little bit about what's going on at Hawking. So good evening, Superintendent McLaughlin, Board of Trustees, Cabinet, and colleagues. It's my honor to share the wonderful work taking place at Hawking Elementary. We know the powerful impact that our staff district-wide brings every single school day. And I want to commend and celebrate the commitment that Hawking Dolphin staff has made to enrichment and intervention for our students. We have 3 mental health clinicians who serve our most in need students and families. Our intervention specialists host student groups. Just as an example, we have a girls group, which has allowed a group of students to meet, create, reflect, and share their common worries about middle school, friendships, Notably, this has reduced the number of referrals to administration, parent concerns coming to our attention about conflict, and has really increased with our students who are participating in lunchtime support groups like this. So let's hear it for our intervention specialists. They're really making an impact. Thanks. Among some of the other programs that we're offering to students beyond the school day, through our Halkine teaching staff, I might add, yoga and making jewelry with Miss A. They're learning yoga poses and focusing on using their breath. Art with Miss Sam. Basketball intramural teams with Mr. Phillips. We're going to compete against Madison. Positive play with Miss Katie. Miss Katie's here tonight. Neverboard board games with Miss Jury, and planes, trains, and automobiles with Miss Hatcher. I want to let you know that all of these folks are doing this beyond their school day. And I'm really grateful to the funding that I'm put in my SIP set, my school plan, to be able to compensate them for this extra time with our students. And again, a huge shout out to Mia Clavin, Amanda Lang, and Vice Principal Lorena Montoya for really making these programs happen. In addition to the enrichment students gain with these opportunities, really what's key here too is the relationship. The extracurricular connections with teachers is a gift and a strong start for our Dolphins to be able to experience mentorship and connections with adults in school, which we know that they're going to take into secondary school, middle school, and high school, those kind of connections that they make with coaches, with tutors, right? We're kind of setting the stage for that. I am grateful that we've been able to use multiple sources of funding to provide intervention specialist expertise. Outside support providers too, I didn't talk about them, but they also provide enrichment and funding to compensate our teachers for these endeavors. We know this work, and budgetary commitment makes an impact on student engagement and success. All right, now I think it's the time for me to acknowledge my student. Is that, yeah, okay. The Halkine community is excited to recognize fifth grader Christian Moreno McAdams. Woohoo! Christian's time at Halkine has been marked by hard work, perseverance, and commitment to achieving his personal best in academics, fitness, and relationships. Christian knows how he learns. He's excited about new knowledge and questions, and he seeks resources in his pursuit of constant growth. He knows how to find those mentors and seek them out for what he needs. Christian notices when others need support and either provides it himself through advice, kindness, or seeks help from the school staff to provide that care for others. Christian is a leader in identifying a need and ensuring it gets met for himself and for others. His teachers also wanted me to say a few things, so if you'll indulge me, I'm going to go ahead. He's always honest, takes personal responsibility, and acts with integrity at all times. His teachers have worked with Christian for years, supporting him in and outside of the classroom. He's continuously improving and soaring in his RSP class. He has always worked hard with a smile on his face. It's such a delight to see him take such pride in his work. It's been a pleasure working with him and watching him grow. He is an awesome student. Give him some love. Christian Moreno McAdams. Thank you for letting me honor this fantastic student. Picture time. Picture time. Staff, come on up, everybody. Come on up.
Let's get the board first.
Oh,
Let's
sorry.
get a board first, then we'll do the whole thing. You get in here.
You can tell me what to do.
Come on, how you doing? How's it going? Congratulations. I love that. All right. Family. All right, all right. We're in the front. Stay right here. Stay right here. We'll get in the back here.
That's
Family,
family, everybody wants, teachers, whatever you want.
do we do teachers and?
Whatever you want, yeah.
Now it's your choice.
That's your choice.
Let's do a family, then family and teachers, if that's cool. Yeah, okay.
Wow, what a thrill. You guys come back a little bit. Got your-
Christian, look at all this love that you do. Put your mouse down. So stay.
Yeah.
Part of the wellness, getting up and down. There you go. Outdoor exercise. Up and down.
All right, trustees, any comment? Oh. Trustee Aguilar.
There we go. Okay, I forgot there was a cue today, David. Well, congratulations, Christian. Look at the family and the people from Hawkins community right around you. It's beautiful. That's just a testament to, Principal Clock, to your teachers. And so I'm really glad that you're able to be at such an amazing school. And not only that, you're doing some good stuff, man. You're doing a good job. Okay, so congratulations. And Principal Clock, thank you for the work that you do at Hawkins. And on the note of intervention specialists, on my site, I'm an intervention specialist. And so I understand the work that goes into it. And it's beautiful to see some success from it. And so I appreciate you sharing the details with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Trustee Pearl, do you have any comment?
I'm watching the live stream. There's a little bit of a lag. See all of the celebration in the photo. I want to congratulate Christian family. It's such a beautiful recognition of your hard work, reflection on your growth area, willing to focus on folks to figure out, continue to strengthen and grow in ways that align with your goals. And I want to congratulate the hospitality community for all of the great work. I'm especially second, Aguilar said, it's also excited to hear about the girls group. It's creating space for folks to feel to be vulnerable and share, always what we're excited about and, want to talk about socially, but also about our peers so that folks can support us and help navigate season of our educational career. So just congratulations all.
Thank you.
Any other trustees? I too want to congratulate Christian. Great job. Love your haircut, by the way. And Principal Clock, thank you for all the work that you do. For those of you who don't know, I follow Principal Clock on Facebook and she does amazing things over there. So it's great to hear it, face front. So I really appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Next up. We have Monroe Elementary School.
All right. Well, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I am Principal McNeil, and I'm principal at James Monroe Elementary School. I am in my 11th year at James Monroe Elementary School, and I'm so happy and thankful that I've been invited to share with you about our very, very special school. For this board report, I will focus on San Leandro Unified School District strategic goals number 1, 2, and 4. Engage, educate, and empower. Educational equity through college and career readiness, and valuing diversity, equity, and inclusion with families and community. Students, families, and equity are the top priorities at Monroe. Our single plan for student achievement and our daily work match and are aligned to these priorities: students, families, and equity. Equity work is woven into everything we do. This year, we are working with 2 groups. We're collaborating with Lead by Learning, who has helped us move towards teachers doing learning visits in each other's classrooms, which is also supported by the Alevo program. So thank you, district. And we're also in year 2 of working with Tovi Scruggs Hussein and Nicole Luciani, also with Halkeen Elementary. So it's nice we're here together. And their work is working with us to have personal equity reflection and journeys, as well as classroom strategies that work with our students. Using data, this year we've identified 2 focal student groups, our African-American students and our students with disabilities as our focal student groups, and teachers have also identified individual focal students that they're working with as well. Our goal is to raise overall proficiency by 10% this year. We have selected school-wide strategies to focus on, including student talk. We know that the people in the classroom that talk the most are those that are learning the most. So we want to hear a lot of student talk. We're also looking at opportunities throughout the day for small group work. And we know that during those small group times, that's when students get a lot of time to talk and do their powerful learning. We're also focused on equity in PBL. Monroe is a project-based learning school, and that is because we believe that project-based learning is a powerful strategy. We're currently planning for our project-based learning and sharing week, which will take place at the end of January. And we're always putting an equity lens on PBL to make sure it supports our focal students and all students. We're excited that we just wrapped up our first enrichment session, which was amazing. We had over 100 students taking classes after school, things like coding, book club, science club, garden club, makers club. And you may have seen the cute photo on the social media for SLUSD of our Ballet Folklorico Club. That was super fun. They did an awesome performance. We have a thriving garden where students are able to go in the garden, grow food, harvest it, and then eat it. So that's amazing. We're also proud that we sort our trash at lunch and breakfast. We sort our compostables as well as our recyclables, and students assist us with this. We have student green team members who work at breakfast and lunch to support us in sorting our trash. I'm excited to say 2 students from Monroe were recently honored by Mayor Cutter with Kindness Awards. So that was awesome. Armani Rogers and Manuel Jimenez. And we just wrapped up a wonderful parent series where 16 parents came and attended 5 monthly sessions on things like positive discipline, routines and procedures, reading at home, communicating with the school, and things like that. That was put on by our amazing parent facilitator and I, and that was really wonderful. Coming up next Tuesday, December 20th, we have our Science Festival put on by Lawrence Hall of Science during the school day. When we have events during the school day, every child gets to participate and every child benefits. We also have 3 science lead teachers who support science instruction at Monroe. For the holiday season, our PTO has planned a school-wide pajama day with cookies, chocolate milk, and the gift of a book and a small stuffed animal for each student. It's important to have fun and celebrate together. And tonight we are honoring Haley Garcia. Haley is our student body president and leader of our student council. Haley was elected student body president by her peers because she is known to be honest, trustworthy, inclusive, fair, a community builder, and an overall great student. So that is the snapshot of the first half of 2022-23. We're busy at Monroe. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to share. And now if you have any questions.
Trustees? Trustee Aguilar?
Or comments.
Yes, I can't wait to meet you, Haley. I was once a student body president, so I can connect to you that way. It's so much fun. And so thank you for being, open and serving your student community. It's a lot of work, I'm sure, as I'm sure you know. And I appreciate you because I can see you up here one day. So I'm very happy about that. Ms. McNeil, thank you for the work that you do at Monroe. Monroe has always been such a really cute and tight community that I love to visit every time that I go when I can go. And so I'm just exceedingly proud of Monroe's community. And so I'll see you soon. I hope to set something up.
Sounds good.
Trustee Sheridan?
Thank you, Ms. McNeil, for your presentation. Monroe's always held a special place in my heart. I'm an alumnus of Monroe. I'm not going to say how many decades ago, but I did go to Monroe. My daughter attended Monroe with Ms. McNeil as the principal, and I can tell you, when she says that students, family, and equity are her priority, especially the students, the way that she cares for those students and treats them as their own. We worked a lot together in different capacities, it's PTOs or dad's club, whatever. And Miss McNeil is always caring about the students, the family, and the equity. And I really commend you for that. That community there is so fortunate to have you leading that community. It's such a tight knit community. The teachers there are great. Your para, Rebecca, she's awesome. So I want to, all of you kids who go there, you guys are so fortunate. You go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of cool things coming up. And so I just want to say, you know what, let us know. And that goes for the other school too. I love invitations to come to things, especially fun things. And so feel free to reach out and I will pencil it in if I can, because I love to be at the schools. And so thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Trustee Proctor?
I just wanted to briefly speak on what you had said about the gardening. I remember it made me think about when I was in elementary school, we had a garden, and I can tell you it was the time of my life having a garden available.
Mhm.
So I know how much those kids enjoy being able to harvest vegetables and fruits and eat them. It is like icing on the cake. So thank you for having that available to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McNeil, for all that you do and creating the community that you do have in Monroe. We really appreciate that. I'd actually like to visit sometime and see the students sorting the trash. That's a little close to my heart. But I have to disagree with one thing. You
Okay.
made the statement that those that talk the most learn the most. I spent a lot of time in detention because I talked a lot. So
It's structured talk. It's structured. It's talk with a purpose.
problem. Okay. But it's great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay. Good.
Let's do the picture.
Photo.
Student up.
Right.
No. Sounds good. It doesn't tell my mom.
That would be a good.
Come on, Ms. McNeil. We're gonna do the board picture first and then we'll do a little chat. So principal, come on. Yeah, you too. All right, everybody in and family and.
You be by her. There you go. Just family? Should I get out? Want me to be in? You want me to be? Oh, I'm family. Okay, honorary. Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I need to apologize. Trustee Pearl, did you have a comment?
Oh, everyone, thank you for second what everyone said. Excited to hear this awesome one.
All right. Next, yes,
Right time hearing.
it is breaking out.
Can you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Gonna increase the volume here too.
All right, next we have presentations. First will be recognition of the outgoing board president. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. Bond report.
Good evening, everybody. I'm glad I wore my coat today because those were some hard acts to follow. Good evening, board members and Dr. McLaughlin. Tonight, I'm just going to give you a brief update on the bond report, and I'm waiting for it to hopefully pull up here. Here we go. Anyway, we've had a lot of rain delays. Certainly, it's good. We need the water, but it's impeded some of the work. Although a lot of the work has had the schedules had that built into them, so they take into account a few of those days where they can't get some work done. So we're still on schedule with everything, which is a good thing. So with that, let's see. Oh. Good. Oh. Go back here. So this is very similar to what you saw at the previous board meeting with a couple of changes. One of which is the Muir Middle School modular buildings are substantially complete and they're actually being occupied now, which is good. So just a handful of little things to pick up and complete there. The other thing I wanted to mention too is the other changes. The Muir Middle School shade structure area is currently in progress. So they've moved everybody out and they've got that area now. It's been freed up for them to start their work. So my first slide here is of the high school gym. As you can see, progress, a lot of stuff going on there. See the water pipes and the drainage pipes all in there. They're pretty busy. They're still trying to get out of the ground. We've discovered, obviously, as you would for a job of this magnitude, some discovery in the dirt, unfortunately, but that's to be expected. So, but they are moving along and it hasn't impeded their progress. Lincoln High School is moving along as well. And as you can see there, some of the water from the recent rains, they were out there. They actually had covered up the entire campus with plastic to prevent the ground from being too saturated just before the rains came. And as you can see there, the formwork, that is the first building. It's what we call the A wing currently. And that's a classroom and classroom wing right there. So they're going to do that and then they'll just move on down the line and do each wing as they get their set crews to come and right behind each other. So that's pretty exciting. It won't be long before they start pouring the cement for this one. And as I was mentioning before, this is Muir Middle Schools. It's the shade structure. You may recognize those or may not as the portables that once were. And so they came and did their demo the other day. Those ones, yeah. No, unfortunately, I know you had a soft meaning in your heart for them, but no, they were a little. So it's good to see them go and good to see progress there. And here, I just want to say thank you. This is some of the portables that were at Mirror. As you can see, they're almost gone. Well, they are gone now, so it's pretty amazing. So it's a great shot. But any feedback or any questions from anybody?
First, let me start with trustee Pearl. Do you have any comments or feedback?
Excited about the work being done and excited to have buildings coming.
Thank you, trustee Gonzalez.
Yeah, I love watching the progress each board meeting. I do say that that picture of the demolished portables, we probably shouldn't advertise because it does make the school look pretty junky. But other than that, at first I was going, is that a junkyard? And then I was like, no, that's our portables. But yeah, I thank you so much. It's really exciting to watch.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, it's very interesting. They have to actually segregate all the materials. So they recycle a lot of that stuff. So it doesn't just all go into the landfill. A big percentage of that building actually gets recycled.
Thank you for your presentation. Is Lincoln on time?
Yeah, currently we're working on time and on schedule, and we're projected potentially to be hopefully done sooner, but we'll see. For now, we're anticipating the end of summer, fall to have that be completed.
Thank you, Dr. Kerrigan.
Yep. I'll take it. Honorary title.
I'm sorry, trustee Pearl.
Yeah, I just wanted, am I on? Yeah, I guess I am. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I've watched quite a few buildings go up here in the time I've been on the board, which has been quite a long time. And I don't think I've ever seen one that looked as messy as that one pile that was falling apart there. But you look and see FTK, for example, which was nothing, and then all of a sudden it is. It's just really neat to see it happen. It's kind of like you waved your magic wand, although I'm sure it took a while, quite a few waves.
Yeah, and you guys have been there for that and knowing all the approvals and all the time that it takes up until you get to construction there's a lot into it.
Cool when you get to the actual putting it up.
That's to me the most satisfying part. Yeah.
Anyone else? Last call. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, now we'll start with the presentations, recognition of the outgoing board president. Before we begin that, I would like to ask each trustee to make a comment about our former president, trustee Aguilar. Yes. Trustee Pearl.
I was just going to ask you, have you got your mic on because it's not.
Yeah, mine's on. Is that better?
Yeah, it is actually.
Okay.
No, I didn't turn mine on. I thought it's on. I'll be able to turn on it, sir. Okay, that's better.
Did you want to say something about trustee Aguilar?
I don't know.
We're recognizing Mr. Aguilar.
Is he behaving himself? I just wanted to know if he's been behaving himself. No, trustee Aguilar, I think you're getting ready to leave us behind, right? No? No, you're not? Oh, you got another 4. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a little slow today, but it's been a long day. Anyway, good. I'm glad you're going to be here for a while.
Trustee Gonzalez.
I want to say that I appreciate the fact that you stepped up when you didn't expect to. You expected you were going to have a whole year of learning the job before you had to do it. And I think you did an amazing job of learning on the job, which, you've also had to do now with teaching. But, thank you for stepping in and doing the job. And, it also makes me kind of sad because this was the last meeting that Christian was at with us a year ago. And so a lot has happened in a year. And thank you for your service.
Trustee Sheridan.
I just want to say, watching him grow up brings a tear to my eye. I remember 4 years ago, this guy, he was full of spunk, ready to go. He was gonna change the world. And, you stepped up, you did a great job in a short period of time, you rose to the occasion, become president. As trustee Gonzalez said, you learned on the job and you did a tremendous job. You've done as well as anybody has. Held yourself with dignity, poise, your organization. Great. Thank you.
Trustee Tate.
So trustee Aguilar, you know that I adore you. We've spent many countless opportunities to collaborate and work on the board projects together. And I highly respect you and admire you. And you did an amazing job as a president. And I'm happy that you've been reelected and that we will continue to support our students in our community. So thank you.
Trustee Proctor.
Trustee Aguilar, it seems like I've only known you the same amount of time it takes to boil a pot of tea, but in that time, I have to say, it's been really wonderful being able to be in your presence. You're really inspirational and you have a lot of determination, and that's something that I look to have when I'm older as well. I'm not calling you old, but just when I'm your age.
Oh, I've reached that age now.
But thank you for what you've done and thank you for being so inspirational.
Trustee Pearl, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I actually get to know more closely after the recent conference we got together, and but I've also to watch him on many board meetings. So I just want to appreciate him for all the things that he said, but just courage that he has to lead. You know, this is not always an easy, very daunting, and with children in school, appreciate folks that the Aguilar stepping up and doing something really difficult and put some time and energy to this, especially at this age when other young people doing many other things. Appreciate him to the community. So thank you.
Do you want to say something?
All right, ex-president, Mr. Aguilar, just echo what trustee Gonzalez said, you know, when it was a difficult time and you stepped right in. And like with, didn't even miss a beat, got right in there and got moving as the president. And again, those are difficult times, but it shows your leadership. You're willing to step up and get moving. So whoever sits next to me, it's always a pleasure. You guys as school board members, you do your school board governance, you know what's going on, and it makes these meetings run very efficiently, keeps us focused. So thank you very much for keeping it going.
Trustee Aguilar, I think all of us remember the day we met you in San Diego. When Penny Peck introduced us to you, and I'm like, who is this kid? You had so much energy and passion, and you still do. That's never gone away. I don't think it ever will. It's been a pleasure working with you. Measure N, that was just when we were walking. That was just so much fun. We've done a lot. You've grown a lot, both personally and professionally. And I'm very, very proud of you. And I look up to you as well.
With that, let's come down here and give you some hard work.
Hi. Look,
All right, here we go.
Should we get down there? Or?
I don't know about that.
All right. Trustee Aguilar, we'd like to present you with the gavel for your service as president. Thank you very much.
You got the mic. You can even have a look at that thing. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome. A gong. A gong.
All right, next up, our 2022 to 2023 first interim presentation with Dr. Collins.
All right, good evening, everyone. Let me start off by apologizing. I feel a little bit underdressed following our bond director. I'll get the coat next time. Want to go over our 22-23 first interim presentation. And here we go. Things we want to cover tonight. Review our annual budget cycle. We're going to talk about our budget and reserve update, ending fund balance and multi-year projection. Want to talk about enrollment and our unduplicated count, COVID funding and other one-time categoricals, which are significant now, legislative analyst office projections for next year, and then next steps from the business office. So first up, here's the 22-23 budget cycle. You can see we began way back in January of 2022. Here we are in December, 12 months later, and we are halfway through the year. With the first interim presentation, we will wrap up our 22-23 budget cycle next December. So halfway through. Want to show you our 22-23 revenues, and we're going to look at our original budget versus where we are right now with our first interim. And you can see under the local control funding formula, we went from 102 million to 109. That's a pretty healthy increase. And that was something that we knew was going to increase, but we just weren't able to put a number on it. Remember, the state delayed quite a bit for final adoption of the budget. And when they did, they adopted it, not just COLA, but a COLA augmentation. And then a little later in the year, there was an augmentation to the augmentation. So that was at 6.7%. We've also gone up a little bit in terms of our unduplicated count. So both those things together accounted for about a $6.4 million increase to LCFF, which again, we did know was coming. We just couldn't put a number on it. Federal has gone down by $500,000, but that's not really a decline. That's just a matter of sort of restating our COVID revenues. Remember, with federal COVID revenues, we don't recognize the revenue until the year it's spent. We're just doing some adjustments, some balancing there. So it looks like a $500,000 cut. State, you see a very large increase there, 15.7 million. The biggest part of that is our new learning recovery emergency block grant of about 13 million, new money, one-time money coming in, as well as instructional material block grant. So with those two changes, we went up by 15.7 million. Again, neither one of those was known, I think talked about, but not known at the time that our budget adoption was completed. Local, pretty flat, $50,000 increase. So overall, a healthy increase over original budget of that $21.6 million. Looking at a table of what constitutes the budget, you can see that LCFF continues to be the biggest part of the budget. Approximately 2/3 of all of our revenue comes through the LCFF process. Federal at 7.5, high again because of COVID. We have one more year of COVID dollars. State, really large at 21.8. Again, learning recovery dollars, ELOP dollars, instructional materials, block grant, things along those lines. And that local portion's getting a little bit squeezed at 5.1%, parcel tax, some of our special ed dollars, et cetera. Overall, this includes just about $7.7 million in state and federal COVID dollars this year, and an additional $23.8 million in ELOP, Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, 13 million, and instructional material, Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, 13 million, and instructional materials block grant at about 5 million. So all those together added into that 23.8 million in essentially new funding. We look at our expenditures. Here's the change for the year. You see a small change under certificated. We had some substitute increases, some new positions that were added through the year, but fairly flat. You see about a 1% increase on certificated salaries, a very small increase on certificated salaries, and benefits came in flat. Books and supplies, it's more of you see an $800,000 increase there. That's more of a placeholder, holding on to some of our dollars until we figure out what we're going to do with them, spending them this year. Services looks like it went down at minus 1.3 million. The Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, if you remember back to last spring, there was a lot of talk about how it was going to be funded, what the dollars were going to be, what the unduplicated count effect was going to be. And we made a stab at it. We said, we think we're going to be at 8 million. In the end, we're at 5.5 million this year for the revenue from ELOP. 85% of that goes to Boys and Girls Club. What you see there is just the difference between that 8 million and 5.5 million for Boys and Girls Club. Small for capital outlay change. That's going to get bigger over time as we do more construction on the district office, as we get closer to groundbreaking there. Total change just a little bit over $400,000 on the expenditure side. Chart showing where our dollars go, as you would expect. Biggest chunk going to certificated salaries, just over 45%, 12.8% to classified, 20% to benefits. Benefits, remember, is things like workers' compensation, PERS, STRS, unemployment benefits, Social Security. Books and supplies is a pretty small amount at 3.2%. Services at 17.1%. And a small amount for transfers and others. Overall, $150 million in expenditures, and 78% of those expenditures going to employee salaries and benefits. That's come down from what we would like, but as we do things like get ELOP dollars or deal with some of the contracts through COVID, that drives up our contract services instead of having employees by design. They have to be that way for a number of those, and you see where we stay at that 78% level. So not bad. Ending fund balance. Let's see, due to decreased expenditures during distance learning and strategic use of COVID funds and significant increases in that local control funding formula funding, district ending fund balance has increased over the past 3 years. We estimate the following ending fund balances as of June 30th, 2023. Our reserve for economic uncertainties is going to be about $4.5 million. Unassigned ending fund balance about $18.5 million. And restricted ending fund balance at about $31 million. Now, 31 is a big number, but what that is again is things like redevelopment agency dollars that we've been saving up for district office construction, instructional material block grant at 5.2 million, and the big learning recovery emergency block grant at 13 million. We're getting all of those dollars this year with no plan to spend those. Those actually won't be spent. It'll be spent through the 27-28 school year, so some time out. If you look at our multi-year projection for 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25, there's some interesting things to note on the revenue line. You can see I show an actual decline in revenue between this year and next year, and that is primarily those one-time dollars, again, the emergency recovery dollars and instructional materials dollars. And then you see another decline from 23-20 to 24. That's a matter of those COVID dollars. The COVID dollars being spent this year, being recognized as revenue this year, and then the same next year. So if this worked out, we would be making $16 million less in 2 years. We'll see what happens. And on the expenditure side, similar, you see 150 million to 160 million, some increases going on next year, and then flat, and that flat from 23-24 to 24 to 25 is essentially the COVID dollars going away. So it's an increase, but then a decrease because of COVID. And you can see sort of the estimates of what we think is going to happen to our ending fund balance over time for those 3 different buckets: reserve for economic uncertainties, unassigned ending fund balance, and then restricted ending fund balance. Some of the assumptions: we're assuming flat enrollment for 23-24 and beyond, and a gradual return to that 95% average daily attendance rate that we've been at in the past. At the time the first interim was prepared, the state was saying 5.38% COLA for next year and a 4.02% COLA for 24-25, and it did include obviously the negotiated salary increases for all groups for 22-23. COVID funding, just a review, we have about $22.1 million to spend over this 3-year period of COVID funding. All of our funds have to be spent by June 30th, 2024. So by the end of next year, we've budgeted about $7.7 million in spending for this year. Things like intervention teachers and counselors, secondary parent facilitators, expanded summer school, additional nursing support, additional technology, and the old personal protective equipment we like a lot. We have approximate $6.5 million remaining in COVID funds that we would spend next year. Now, the Learning Recovery Emergency Grant, that $13 million is available through 27-28 school year. So the plan again is to look at what are those essential things that we're doing now from COVID. After next year, when those COVID funds are spent, we'd be able to backfill then, continue doing some of those with our Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. And we'll plan on bringing a plan forward at some point in the future. Enrollment, unduplicated count. We know that students who qualify for free reduced lunch, our English learners or foster youth bring additional dollars to the district. Our unduplicated pupil percent, our UPP, is estimated at 76.5% this year, which is another really good year. That increase, we thought it was going to be going down because of universal meals, that people didn't have to fill this form out, but we've actually had an increase for the last 2 years due to an increased focus on the data confirmation process, increased outreach by parent facilitators and others about the importance of this form. And we've gone to using an alternate income form, which simplifies the process and allows the process to be handled in the ARIES registration process. Enrollment ADA, majority of district funding we know comes from ADA. ADA is sort of our bread and butter in the district. Enrollment has declined by 424 students since that 1920 peak for us. Future declining enrollment would represent major financial burden for the district. So we are working hard to make sure that we don't decline. Actual attendance continues to be lower than pre-COVID. So even though we're kind of a twofold right now, we're down in enrollment and our ADA for those kids that are here is not as good as it was. And we know why. Here's a table on the right showing our enrollment versus the year. You can see the peak again in 1920. We're at 9,067 students. Over here on 22-23 school year on the far right, we're at 8,643. So you can see that 400 and some student drop. Traditionally, again, our district averages about 95% enrollment, 95% ADA year over year. And the state has given us a number of tools of ADA relief over the last 3 years, which have been very helpful. Finally, we've reduced, tried very hard to increase. We ended up losing 67 students from 21-22 to 22-23. That is including universal TK. So even though we went up in TK because we added 2 months at the TK level, we still lost a net loss of students. So something to keep working on for us. Looking forward to 23-24, the Legislative Analyst's Office, LAO, released the 23-24 fiscal outlook last month. They're predicting what they're calling dampening state and federal economies due to ongoing issues, including inflation and increasing interest rates. The UCLA economic forecast was released last month, and what they 50% of the economists in the survey said we're going to have a recession next year, and 50% said no recession next year. So it's really up in the air. It's a little bit unique economic times trying to figure out what's going on economically within the state. We do know that tax revenues are down, but our K-12 budget is somewhat protected from a possible recession or even a dampening because of high one-time spending in 22-23 and because we have a full Prop 98 rainy day fund within the state level. And the LAO is estimating now, as we've gone farther, that the Prop 98 COLA is going to be 8.73% next year. That's part of a delay in terms of inflation has been high. We know it's been high. And then by the time all of those figures are calculated and go into formulas around Prop 98, it's a little bit of a delay, right? So 8.73 is higher than we expected. And that'll change a little bit. I think it's 6 out of the 8 data points are known at this point. So as we go into the spring, the actual final COLA will be calculated. However, the LAO notes that the state probably cannot afford a full 8.73%, and we'll see. Prop 13, I want to talk a little bit, brief history here on 2 impactful measures, propositions from the past. Prop 13, remember, from 1978, limited the growth of property taxes. Property taxes, your house valuation can go up 2% a year, and then you pay 1% of that value to the county general tax. Prop 4 is not talked about as much, but it's the GAN limit. And what it did, instead of limiting the growth of property tax, it limited the growth of government spending. And here's how it came into impact. It happened this year. Remember the forums, every year we pass a resolution where our GAN limit gets sent into the state and every other district and every other local, and it goes to this aggregate GAN limit. Well, the GAN limit was applicable this year, but there are some exclusions to the GAN limit, and the governor made good use of those, and the state did. One of them is capital outlay projects. If you remember that in 2020, the state school bond failed in March. What they did this year, though, is they took general fund dollars and put it into essentially the school bond, OPSC, Office of Public School Construction, for essentially a state-funded school bond without the bond part. So that'll be available. That's part of the capital outlay project. Emergency spending can be spent on things like COVID. So that Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant has the word emergency in it. It counted, it was an exclusion because of the GAN limit, but it counted towards Prop 98. So it was to kind of double count those dollars. But that's one of the examples of how the state was able to creatively use loopholes to the GAN limit and provide important dollars to schools. And finally, rebates to taxpayers. We know a number of us got gas tax relief is how they framed it in the last couple of months to taxpayers. So all of those were done because of the GAN limit. The reason, again, I'm bringing those up is these are examples of one-time things that the state has done this year. So even if tax revenues come down, which it looks like they are, they just don't have to do these one-time things, and they're still in a pretty good position compared to past economic slowdowns. Finally, next steps. Our 21-22 audit report is complete and will be submitted to ACUE and the state by the December 15th deadline. Unfortunately, it was not ready in time for it to come to the board meeting today. So you'll see that in January, asking for your approval for it. And finally, the governor is going to release the January budget estimate in early January 2023. We're looking forward to seeing that. District second interim report will be presented in March. And with that, that concludes the first interim report. If you have any questions or comments.
Please, any questions and or comments? I'm going to start with Trustee Pearl. Do you have a question or comment?
Sorry, I was unmuting. I have lots of stuff, questions, but probably for other meetings around a little bit about curious about some with the spending and whether we'll be reporting on sort of impacts of that and how about that for this 6.5 million spending the dollars in the next academic year. Make a note about that. And then I was curious about with the declining enrollment, is there a specific time in which trajectory we're seeing? Is that across the board? Is that middle and post?
It was, yeah. I think we'll certainly make an appointment to go through some of those specifics about that. I'm sorry, we couldn't quite hear the full questions that you had. There was a little bit choppy, but I can certainly address those for you.
Not a worry, thanks.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Gonzalez.
Yeah, I'm curious the whole 95% ADA. I mean, I don't think that we've been doing a great job of educating families to keep their kids home.
Right.
When sick.
Mhm.
And so we're probably going to have that continue.
That is correct.
And so will we ever get back to the 95%? And do we want to get back? Because there were a lot of parents sending kids to school sick. And I like the new normal of don't send your kid to school sick anymore.
Yeah. I think that's one where the state has given a lot of latitude, a lot of relief around ADA, understanding that, if kids aren't in school, we don't get paid. And there's a lot of reasons why that is not the best model for schools. Sometimes you have it that the kids who are staying home are the ones that are neediest, and you need the most resources to be able to do outreach and teach and educate. It's the model that we have. There's been talk around doing something different. We know how much time and energy the state puts into auditing ADA and how much work it is to get right. I think that would be kind of the way I would go, that it's better, I think, if you have a student and that you need to educate them and show that you're doing the outreach if there's, truancy problems or attendance problems. But you're right. If a kid has COVID, yeah, stay home, or a number of other ailments that are going around these days. Just so you know, we were down to about 88% last year, which is pretty low. We, in sort of doing a model, we estimated we'd be about 92% this year, 93% the following year, 94, and then finally in 26, 27, we'd be back to that 25%. We do think it'll take time to kind of return to that new normal, right?
Thank you.
Trustee Sheridan.
Kevin, I want to thank you for your presentation. Always thorough. And I really appreciate the fact that all of the information you put together helps give us a glimpse into the future so that we can be prepared, when we're in our different committees and we're discussing policy, we're discussing what we're going to do in the future, when we're discussing spending money, we need to be mindful of what could be coming down the road. And definitely these interim reports help. Question I have is dampening. Is that an official accounting term?
Economics term, I had always heard that, two consecutive quarters of negative GDP is a recession. Well, earlier this year, we had 2 negative quarters, but nobody used the R word around it. So I think they're kind of making stuff up on the fly these days. Yeah. They are the UCLA economists, though.
What do you expect?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, something.
All right. You want to go?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Kevin, I've talked about this too. I think this is going to be a curious winter. That really dictates how we move forward. I mean, if you don't have the numbers, we're watching them every day, the COVID numbers, but you also, people are getting the flu and the cold. Because as you said, Evelyn, we can't keep moving forward with a model if everybody's staying home and we're getting punished on this as we go through. So I think this is kind of, for me, a key winter as we get through. If we get out of it and the numbers don't hit all the school districts like it has in the past, this model may stay. You know what I mean? The old ADA model they may say we're out of it. We don't need to change it.
Yeah, and what I would add to that is, remember what the old way to do it is, it's either this year's ADA or last year's ADA, whichever's higher. But now this year, what the state also added to that, a third option, which is the prior 3 years ADA, which helps you in 1 year where you only, a gap can only be a third of a gap. But over time, you get it. So every year you're going to get hit regardless.
I'm sure there's politicians hoping we just get back to the normal and then they can just stay with this, right? But if we don't, I don't see how they can punish us, but it's only, we're gonna have to watch.
For sure.
All right, I wanted to make a comment and a question as well. The ELAP grants, do you think it's going to be ongoing?
Yeah, we really do think that that's going to be ongoing. They've shown it's a major priority. It's been a really nice thing for us, ACES and ELAP really being sort of this comprehensive program, K through 8 now, with different ways of serving the different grade levels in different schools. But it's been a real bonus. I think the biggest hurdle has been launching something that big, a $5.5 million program. It's a big program. Staffing around it, adequate facilities around it, just being, getting your head around, like just building that out on the fly. It has been a big one, but the state's definitely shown that it's a priority. It's intended to be ongoing, along with universal TK, along with universal meals. There's a number of really tremendous things that have come out of these post-COVID years that are going to benefit kids for a long time to come, and all of those are intended to be ongoing.
Yeah, because it'd be hard to start something like that and then just stop it.
It definitely would be. Yeah, it definitely would be.
And then also I want to pay you a compliment too. On your unduplicated count, that's fantastic. For those that you don't know how that works with you, under universal meals, all students in California are entitled to a free breakfast and lunch. And so it's an uphill battle with parents that are thinking, if my child eats for free, why do I have to fill in an application? So Dr. Collins, in conjunction with Assistant Superintendent Larry Simon's team, they've done an outstanding job of getting that information and getting that number up there. So congratulations. And thank you.
And really, one of the things, we could not have done that without universal meals, right? We needed the backbone of universal meals, because alternate meals doesn't count actually for the federal free reduced lunch. It counts for unduplicated count. We still need that universal meals in the background to make sure that everybody can eat for free.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next, reports. First up, correspondence.
All right, I have the correspondence report through December 12th. Just for your own information, I am not reporting out on intra district email communications. This is all outside communications. November 11th, Happy Veterans Day from Supervisor Dave Hubbard. November 23rd, La Familia Giving Tuesday. November 23rd, Diane Maldonado, Grounded in Gratitude. November 23rd, Building Futures, Season of Thanks plus Giving. November 23rd, Building Futures, A New Start Can Be Tough. November 29th, San Leandro Scholarship Foundation, Donate to Support. December 1st, SLUSD Communication, Affordable Housing Ownership Opportunity through the City of San Leandro. December 8th, Building Futures, Help Make the Holidays Warmer. December 8th, Karishma Katari, ASM Liz Ortega Community Swearing In. December 12th, San Leandro Chamber, Giving Back Through Building Futures, and December 12th, Boys and Girls Club holiday gift for our kids. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, trustee. Next up, student board member report, trustee Proctor.
Since the return from Thanksgiving break, I've observed a common pattern of kindness. I'm not sure if this is because of the holiday season, but whatever is in the air is causing students and staff to spread a bit more cheer and make the environment even more warm and comfortable on top of what it's already been. Currently, the students and leadership are organizing a way to create mental health resources a lot more accessible through media and word of mouth. Additionally, leadership is also planning a dance taking place in January, and we're working together to gather decorations and create a memorable event for students. Lastly, I'd like to speak on San Leandro High's Ambassador Project. It's been an absolute treat to work with peers in creating a language of diversity and individual experience. In doing this, I've spoken to scholars who I never thought I would have, and we've learned even more about our similarities and difference. Thank you to Ms. Levy, Mrs. Barloga, both Dr. R.E. and R.O., and Ms. Maria for an outreach of support.
Thank you, trustee. Next, union representative reports. I don't see any union reps present. Thank you. All right, next board committee reports, communication and advocacy.
Okay, we met on December 5th. And we started with the bond update, and we're ribbon cutting at Bancroft. We're holding off until we get the shade structures completed. And so we'll keep you posted. We reviewed the events and the resolution awareness calendar. And we talked about the Martin Luther King event that the city's doing that is inviting students to participate. And so there was a brief discussion about that. And then the district communication projects, we reviewed the list of projects. The Ed Service team will be hosting a hiring booth at the CABI conference in March. And then we also talked about the achievement nights, and the dates are being finalized. We did decide to move forward with doing our achievement nights. In addition, though, we're also asking each of the sites to do a just recognize every single student that qualifies. And so every student will be getting an award that makes that would have gotten an award with these two categories, if that makes sense. And but we also wanted to have the special cultural presentations and opportunities, and to do that on a district-wide level. So we will be hosting in-person events again this year. So, and the dates, as soon as we have them, will be put on the calendar. So the adult school brochure is complete and is expected to be mailed. We had a long discussion about social media. When we were at the conference in San Diego, there have been some changes to the Brown Act that affect social media, such that if board members like something, then it can be considered a Brown Act violation. So if more than a quorum. So we, on each other's posts. Now we can share if the school district sets a post and we share it, then it's not a Brown Act violation. But if we like each other's post and it has anything to do with, what was the language that they used? It was anything to do with business of the district, past or future. And so it could be a decision we already made that we then have to be careful of. And so we were going to continue this conversation in the committee and get some guidelines to all the board members about this.
Can you emoji? Can you?
That's
all these
you
other
cannot react at all. So no reaction, no anything on if there's more than 4 of us that, if there's 4 or more, then it's a quorum. And so anyway, so there's some lawsuits and there's some conversations about that. And then the other thing that there's lawsuits about is that any Facebook group or Twitter group that looks like it possibly could be a school district affiliated, So that goes for the clubs, like you have kids at the high school creating, San Leandro High School soccer, San Leandro High School. So now those can be perceived as school district. And so we have to be responsible for getting them to put a disclaimer saying that it is not affiliated with the school district, or to get them to remove the SLUSD or so this kind of goes to the conversation we had about the one Facebook group that people were assuming was affiliated with us. So we need to be going and getting disclaimers. And supposedly the lawsuits have also allowed or have forced these organizations like Facebook, Twitter to now have to react. So if we send a letter that says this organization is not affiliated with us, then they have to react to that. So
is that going to include SLED?
No, because SLED they don't look, I don't think their logo has San Leandro Unified School District in it. It has San Leandro Education about it.
Yeah, we'll get some advice from attorney.
Yeah.
Even draw a line from A to B to C and.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's out there.
Yeah. So anyways, this is a whole new conversation. It all has come up within the last, 6 months. And so, anyways, we had a conversation, and we need to continue the conversation and actually have some legal consultation about this. And then it was also talked about is the First Amendment rights and social media, and that you have to allow people to film in public spaces. And so anyone can come in. So we need to be very clear on what is public spaces in our schools and where people can come in. Okay, for advocacy, again, we talked about the Student Achievement Awards and made the decision to move forward with the district awards, but then to also really make sure that every student that meets the criteria. And Ed Services is working on what that criteria looks like, given the new normal after COVID. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee. Next, curriculum and policy. We meet on January the 23rd. Next up, facilities and technology.
President Oshinsky, F&T met December 7th. We started off with a brief technology update from Larry Simon. That was followed up by a presentation from Aaron Kerrigan on some schematic designs for the new district office plan, which will be shared with the rest of the board in the future. There were a number of items on consent as we're moving through these projects. We did discuss some change orders and then a number of projects which you will see later on our agenda for your consideration. A lot of them are these marquees that we're getting installed district-wide, and some other contracts to support the construction going on in the district. And that is it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have finance. We met on Wednesday, December the 7th. We had 2 discussion items, the 2022-2023 first interim report, as you heard this evening. There's a great discussion around that. We asked clarifying questions. One, for example, distant learners, how many are there, and do they count in the ADA? And then we asked for clarification on the table that Dr. Collins shows on where our funding comes from based on local control funding formula, and the clarification on those 2. Our next meeting will be March the 1st, and the last one on June 21st. That's my report. And last, we have date.
We did have a date meeting, December 7th. Some of the items that we discussed were a review of AB 2246. It's the policy on suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention. We discussed and reviewed the flow chart for mental health, the QR codes, the secondary sites, and for students to utilize. And we discussed principals and ACES project directors receiving training on that. We also discussed mid-year cost data, We looked at the referrals compared this year's to the previous year. We had 809 referrals this year compared to the 718 the year before. And we're attributing the increase to mental health and wellness needs. We also discussed the mobile therapy. I don't know if any of you saw in any of the communications, the mobile bunnies that landed at Bancroft after an incident. We're looking at a contract and see what that would look like district-wide. Even for post-vention services in the spring at all schools. And then we also discussed the PTA session review, Healthy Minds and Bodies, supporting students with emotions. We looked at the session that was offered at Roosevelt, an overview of the big emotions and how to support them, and supporting students and family at their home. Our next meeting will be March 8th.
Thank you, trustee. Next consent item agenda. I need to remind trustees, because trustee Pearl is audio only, we're going to have to do a roll call vote with all the future voting. And first off, do we have any polls on the consent agenda? Seeing no. Trustee Pearl?
No.
Thank you. Can I get a motion?
To approve the consent agenda.
A second.
Moved by trustee Aguilar, seconded by trustee Tate. Gonzalez, sorry.
President Oshinsky,
Yes.
Vice President Tate. Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Pearl, Trustee Pearl.
Yes.
Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. Next, action discussion items. For your information, trustee Pearl, what we normally do is Robert's Rules of Orders requires us to ask for a discussion after each item, but I'm going to follow in the footsteps of former President Aguilar, and I'm going to pass that. If you have any discussion, just stop me mid-sentence. I'll be happy to address those questions you might have. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, number one, General Services, California School Boards Association Delegation Assembly nominations for 2023. Would anyone like to nominate a board member for the Delegate Assembly?
The next school year.
James.
Okay,
Trustee
so
Aguilar.
a couple, let me get to your point. And then I will so first point that's on my mind is no, so this would go effective as soon as the next delegate assembly meeting convenes, which is I believe in March. So it'd be after January, but the delegate assembly election is in January. And as far as I'm aware, trustee Tate, her term ends in 2024. And trustee Proli, you're up this year for 2023. So if you'd like to run for re-election, we can nominate you and put you on the ballot.
That I haven't required to keep one this. I think maybe I should.
That opens us trustees to be able to nominate anybody within the region that you think might be interested. Yes, and as far as I go, I don't matter in any of this since now I'm a director, and so my term will end in 24, and there are different rules. So if you want to nominate anyone within the region, then that's up for us. That's Alameda County specifically that we can do that.
Anyone have nominations? Trustee Pearl?
I do not have one.
All right. Evelyn, I'm sorry, trustee Gonzalez.
I actually don't want to nominate anyone because I feel like the persons and their school board should probably be the ones that nominate them. I feel uncomfortable nominating someone that can't even accept. So
All right, next. We don't have any nominations. Number 2, business and operations, 2022-2023 first interim report. Do I have a motion? Moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Sheridan. All those in favor?
Roll call. President Oshinsky,
Yes.
Vice President Tate.
Yeah.
Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar,
Yeah.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Pearl, Trustee Prola,
Yes.
Trustee Proctor.
Yeah.
It's all good.
All good. Motion carries 7+1. Next, 3A, one tutor live virtual teaching contracts. Do I have a motion?
I'll move 3A. Second.
Moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Perola.
President Oshinsky,
Yes.
Vice President Tate.
Yeah.
Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar,
Yes.
Trustee Pearl.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. Next, approval of letter of commitment between Jefferson Elementary and San Francisco Opera Area Residency.
I'll go ahead and move item 4A. Well, 04A, I apologize.
Moved by trustee Aguilar, seconded by trustee Tate.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate.
Yes.
Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Pearl.
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
A lot of P's in there. Motion carries 7+1. Memorandum of understanding between the Contra Costa Special Education Local Plan Area and San Leandro Unified School District.
I'll move 4B.
Moved by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Sheridan.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate. Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Pearl.
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. Educational Services Staffing Agreement 2022-2023. Moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Aguilar.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate.
Yeah.
Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Pearl.
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. 5A, Bancroft Middle School Courtyard Improvement Budget.
I'll second.
Moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Gonzalez.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate.
Yes.
Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar. Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. Item 5B, resolution number 22-59, San Leandro Unified School District thermostat replacement.
I'll second.
Moved by trustee Pearl, seconded by trustee Gonzalez.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate. Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. Item 5C, SLUSD resolution number 22-58, district-wide solar generation and kitchen HVAC cooling projects. I'd like to move that one.
I'll second it.
Moved by trustee Oshinsky, seconded by trustee Gonzalez.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate.
Yes.
Board Clerk Sheridan.
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Pearl.
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. Site logic agreement, solar generation and kitchen HVAC cooling project.
I'll second.
Moved by trustee Aguilar, seconded by trustee Gonzalez.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate.
Yes.
Board Clerk Sheridan.
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Motion carries 7+1. Item 05E, sound and signal agreement, installation of fire panel monitoring equipment. Moved by trustee Pearl, seconded by trustee Gonzalez.
President Oshinsky,
Yes.
Vice President Tate, Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Perola, Trustee Proctor,
Motion carries 7+1. Item 05F, Dream Ride Elevator, modernization of elevator and science wing at San Leandro High School. Moved by trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Aguilar.
President Oshinsky,
Yes.
Vice President Tate, Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Perola, Trustee Proctor,
My motion carries 7+1. Information Systems, approval of a 3-year contract at 6A for services with AT&T for digital transmission services to ACOE. Moved by trustee Tate, seconded by trustee Sheridan.
President Oshinsky,
Yes.
Vice President Tate, Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Perola, Trustee Proctor,
Motion carries 7+1. Next, cabinet reports. Dr. Mike.
All right. Ms. Proctor, I love the voting with enthusiasm.
we missed one,
Oh,
six
missed
B.
one more.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's 6B, approval of contract services for ACOE with internet service provider for the district.
President,
By trustee Sheridan, seconded by trustee Perola.
President Oshinsky.
Yes.
Vice President Tate, Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Perola, Trustee Proctor,
Motion carries 7+1. Now cabinet report.
You know, since you've been president, some things have changed here. I'm allowed to do this now when you make a mistake. So anyways, James told me so. He changed some rules, you know, so maybe people won't want to be the president as bad. So I was going to tell you, Ms. Proctor, I love the enthusiastic voting. It's just incredible. It's yeah, it's what we need. Good job. Good job. Start out with elections are over, you know, like I said, for the city and you know, some sad news for one of our trustees, but good news that we get to keep her. So good race. What a close one. And then, of course, we were calling her at CSBA, the First Lady, Ms. Gonzalez. Congratulations to your husband, Juan, and
Mayor S.
Mayor what?
Mayor S.
Mayor S. What is it? I don't know. Oh, sheesh. We just called her the First Lady. We were calling her. So anyways, congratulations to all of you. I thought it was a great campaigns by all of you. It's great to see other sides that you're passionate to do things for the city, not along with the school, but we sure love having you here. So, okay. So we'll move forward with other things until the next election, right? So so much excitement. On the 9th of November, I was able to speak to Rotary. Aisha Knowles invited me, and along with Leo, been trying to get me in there. It was a great afternoon. You know, I was able to share with him. I wanted to talk to him a little bit about coming out of COVID, where we are, where we were, and where we are, how things are going to move forward, and you know, some of our challenges, because I think the newspaper doesn't really cover a lot of the news media of what our challenges are throughout the United States in schools, which is staffing and, you know, morale, and, you know, you got everybody, adults, kids, everybody, you know, got a lot of angst and, you know, a lot of worry still. So I wanted everybody to understand didn't want to be depressing, but say, hey, we just didn't all of a sudden stop and then we're bounced back, you know, but it's a work in progress. But I think everybody's dedicated to helping us move forward. And so are they. They're like, what can we do as service groups to help, you know, make, you know, help with some of these challenges. So we're going to hopefully work together. And as I speak to other service groups, I'll share the same thing. We also went through the bond projects because I also want to make sure one of the initiatives that I really try to hit with our administrators at a retreat is every time we have an opportunity in front of the public to speak, we need to thank them every time about their help with the bonds and the parcel tax, because, you know, we're doing things other school districts don't have the luxury to do because they don't have the support of the community. So I think you'll hear from our principals when they get up in front of something, they will always say, you know, thank you, community. And whenever you guys have an opportunity to speak in front of the public, it's just kind of like a blanket disclaimer right now. Is a thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And they were just thrilled to death with all the projects we're doing. And one of the gentlemen I met there is actually a previous basketball coach there. I want to say, I don't know how long ago. So every time I hear those things, it's because I talk and go, got to make sure we get these groups in for the opening and these groups, and then talking about maybe when we get ready to closer to things that we can cut up the old floor and we could sell the old floor. And I don't know, just all the fun stuff that comes with construction and moving forward, new things, making sure we keep the history, things of that sort. But anyway, great visit with Rotary. I haven't been back there, gosh, for a long time. They haven't invited me. So good group. CSBA, we had CSBA a couple weeks ago, and it was great always to go down and be with the school board. And this time we had some cabinet members there, so they can see what goes on at CSBA. And it's a good time to always break bread with our trustees and with their families. And it's always enjoyable for me. You know, the other good thing is, you know, I was able to pop into some of the sessions. It's always like, you're going to say, we're doing this. Or, okay, we're on the same track as this. We're not going in too many sessions where we're going, oh, you know, so it makes you feel good, makes you walk out of those sessions being very proud of yourself as a school district. So next year it's in San Francisco, right, James?
Yeah.
So hopefully, yeah, get no need to travel. So I think that'll help be a nice time to have Jackie there as well. She was here at this last one, but the whole board, you know, hopefully there for the next one next December. So we're going to be passing out tests again for the Christmas break, the COVID tests. So I'm sure they'll go into more detail about that, but going to keep that process going as long as this thing's still out there. And then lastly, I just want to thank everybody for voting for Prop 28, the Art Initiative, because this keeps my wife employed for a long time. Good job, everybody. This is fitting right into my future plans. So I just think it's awesome because it's just one of those things that, I mean, we do a lot of great work in this district with art. And you think that happens everywhere. And it really doesn't, you know. So to have other school districts now have the funds to bring in the arts, because many of our kids that have challenges are artists. We're not tapping into their specific needs and getting them engaged, which if they just had that one class or that one thing, helps the rest of the day, you know, all those things. So I'm glad to see the state of California finally pass something like this, and good stuff for kids as we move on. Now, if we can just, like Kevin said, the lift of ELOP was hard. Now we're going to have to, you know, it's great. We're having all this money, but it's a process trying to hire and build new programs. But this team's phenomenal. They're already working like at the high school, and they're going to add some more programs they'll bring and talk to you about later or whatever. So good stuff. And hope you all have a great Christmas break, and it's coming, and we can hang out with families. Hopefully just rest because there's no election going on. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm tired just listening to it. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting to start a new year. With that, I'm done. I'll pass on to the next one.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mike. Next, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Patel.
Thank you. I wanted to share that our high school right now is getting ready in the college and career readiness class to have the interviews for the freshmen. So you all should have received an invite, and hopefully you were able to sign up for a date. It is happening on December 20th, 21st, and the 22nd. In addition to the college and career readiness course, doing career and sort of life planning with the students, we're also continuing to support students with college applications and with the Common Application Workshop that was held this afternoon. And then there's also a I Applied for College Now What workshop on December 15th, and a celebration for finishing applications on the 16th. We have 12 students at the high school who are currently participating in a medical internship in Heal. We're excited to share you photos and updates of that soon, but just a little plug around what's happening around college and career readiness at the high school. Last, we are looking at the California dashboard data that it came out to us in an embargoed fashion, so we're not able to share it yet. But we are looking at the data to quickly rethink our professional learning plans in the coming months as we return back from winter break, and make sure that we're attending to where we need to maybe focus in. And we look forward to sharing that when we return after the new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Service, Dr. Senavatini.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. McLaughlin. Since our last board meeting, I had the opportunity to walk through many of our classrooms with some of our newest employees here in the district. I walked through side by side with Director Ward, and in some cases, Dr. Patel had also joined me. And these visits just really gave us this opportunity to provide our administrators with just securing some additional, support that these employees might need in some of their first, just to be successful in their first years of teaching. And it also just helped us, look to see where there's some troubleshooting things that we can do to make them be successful. And just, I'll be brief tonight because losing my voice here, but to date, just as we move into the holiday breaks that are coming up, we know that it's also important to have our students have the opportunity to get some enrichment during these intersessions. So to date, we have about 100 of our students who will be enrolled in the winter camp intersession that's going to take place between December 23rd to December 30th at the Boys and Girls Clubhouse, and on January 3rd through the 6th at Jefferson Elementary. And then we also have 150 of our 6th through 8th grade middle school students who will be enrolled in the winter camp intersession, same dates, December 23rd to the 30th and January 3rd through the 6th at the Boys and Girls Clubhouse. And so this is, there's still time to enroll. And there's still space. And we just hope that our families will take advantage of this opportunity. This is one of the things that comes from the ELOP program. And so as we expand, these are some of the things that we want to make sure our students have during all of, this is the first intersession, but they'll also have the opportunity in the during the President's Week and during the spring break. And then just finally, I just want to wish everyone a warm, wonderful holiday season. And thank you for all that you all do. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Once again, our Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations, Dr. Collins.
Good evening again. Just very briefly, we're looking to begin working on the second interim next month and begin planning for the 23-24 budget cycle. As we alluded to, we'll be keeping a close eye on the governor's budget proposal, which will be released just after we return from winter break. And we'll see what that looks like. And that's it.
Thank you, Doctor. And lastly, we have our Assistant Superintendent of Information Systems, Larry Simon.
Thank you. I would just like to briefly say I had the opportunity to attend the state's annual K-12 technology conference recently and attend some sessions and meet with many of our peers. There were a lot of great things happening there, but the one thing that was sort of top of mind was cybersecurity. Just in the last couple of months, there have been a multiple high-profile attacks against districts across the state. You've probably seen a few of them in the news. So it really seems that these sort of malicious actors are viewing school districts as soft targets because they tend not to have the investment that some of the private companies do. But I note there, I said they, not we. I don't think that's necessarily representative of how we operate here in SLUSD. So I think we're in a great place. But with that in mind, we're putting a really large focus on that as a department, sort of assessing the district's posture and where we're at in regards to security, and also coming up with long-term planning and goal setting in that regard to sort of make sure we stay safe. And that's really been a lot of our work recently and moving forward. Outside of that, I'd just like to thank everyone and hope you all have a great holiday break.
Thank you. Next, we have board representative reports. First up, Alameda County School Boards Association.
So as of today, we don't have a meeting scheduled yet. Typically we meet 4 to 5 times a year. So we anticipate a meeting will either be February, March, or April, and I will update you next month.
Thank you, Trustee. Next, Eden Area Regional Occupational Program.
We had a special meeting last Thursday on the 8th to discuss some closed session items, but nothing to report. Other than that, that was my absolute final meeting of ROP, and I'm excited to hand it off to whoever's next.
Great. Thank you, Trustee. Next, Mid Alameda County SELPA.
So we do have a meeting scheduled on February 13th. I don't know if I'll be the representative. However, we have received notification of that meeting.
Thank you, Trustee. Last, City Disaster Preparedness Council.
And we finally still have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you, trustee. Next, future business consensus item, trustees. None. Trustee Pearl?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you, trustee. All right, next, additional suggestions and comments from board members. Let's start with you, trustee Pearl.
Well, yes, I said many things tonight, so I hope I wasn't taking up too much space. I know I want to thank everyone for accommodating me tonight with, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. Accommodating me with, the speakerphone. I know it's a little bit complicated and I appreciate everyone doing roll call tonight. And just again, very appreciative of the opportunity to serve alongside you all and looking forward to diving deep into the work when I'm in better health in the new year and after the holiday.
Thank you, trustee. Trustee Pearl? No.
Thank you. Someday I'll figure out the technology and then things will be good. Anyway, I was just going to say, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. I don't know how many of you grew up outside of California, but if you grew up in the Midwest like I did, you're going to appreciate our cold weather here because it's not anything compared to what they have back there. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Celebrate whatever you celebrate and enjoy all of it and with your families. Thank you.
Trustee Gonzalez?
First, I want to say thank you. Thank you to Jackie for coming and making the commitment to go to CSBA. It was great to get to know you. Welcome to the board. I'm glad that you got active before you even got sworn in. So thank you. I want to talk CSBA. It was great to be back in person. The last two virtual ones were great, but actually having conversations with colleagues at other districts is a whole nother level. So if I'm looking forward to next year, it being in San Francisco and being able to have more of us there. I attended a Cal Kids program to learn more about that. And the San Leandro Scholarship Foundation is interested in helping to promote that program. And so we're following up. That's why Councilmember Blue came in, because he wants to make sure that the Scholarship Foundation really promotes that for the students here in San Leandro. So what else? Oh, so December 30th is the San Leandro Day at the Warriors. And so there are tickets available. If you go to the City of San Leandro website, there are reduced tickets available for that day. And so the Warriors are going to be acknowledging one of our community leaders, Maura Fry, who does April showers. And so it has been a homeless advocate here. And so if any of you are interested in going to the Warriors for $75, I suggest you go and get your ticket. And then, I'm ending the election campaign season and we were holding on to figure out if there was a win or a loss until December 8th. And then swearing in was last night. So it was a fast time frame from the answer's yes to now you actually start. And so happy that it's over with and looking forward to just being a trustee. And I will retain being my own person and not being swept up with my husband's new job description. So anyways, thank you very much and hope everyone gets a nice break. I think everyone deserves that.
Absolutely. Trustee Aguilar?
Yes, so I have a few things. First off, thank you all for your really kind and thoughtful comments about my transition from the board presidency. I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I hope I did Christian well, because every day in the role, I thought about him and how he would have done it. And so I hope at the very least I embodied what he would have done. So yeah, I'm grateful for your mentorship and I'm grateful for the history that we have together. Outside of that, I am so grateful to have spent a lot of time with Trustee Pearl in San Diego for CSBA, getting to know her and spending a lot of time with the rest of you who came too. And so thank you. As Dr. Mike said, breaking bread, getting to have conversation, go into sessions. It was a good time. And I'm here to report that it is actually statistically the most well-attended CSBA conference ever. Okay, so good stuff, making good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's all I have for my notes. But yeah, as far as me, looking forward to another 4 years working with you all, serving the community. And so I think I'll end it off on that. Other than that, have a great break. We all deserve it. Our teachers deserve it. And so, yeah, have a good holiday break.
Thank you, Trustee Sheridan.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that that Warriors game is against the Portland Trailblazers, so it's going to be a good game. Right, yeah, Damian Lillard coming back to town, local favorite. I'm keeping mine brief. I just want to thank everybody for another great year, for the hard work, for the effort, for making us look good, for making the district look good. You know, we couldn't do this without you, you know, the cabinet, the superintendent. And let's not forget the wonderful Miss Mayfield. She's on top of it always, keeping us on our toes and making us look good up here as well. I want to wish everyone a happy and restful holidays, and we will see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Tate.
So I do have a number of things I want to talk about. So I want to welcome Trustee Pearl. I'm happy that you're on the board and I look forward to the work that we will continue to do. And it was nice to see you in San Diego. And then also regarding the campaign, you know, it was a really good experience for me. It was a very close race and my opponent and we ran a really respectful campaign. I did contact her today to concede. And I wish her well, and I know she'll do a really good job. But I got a chance to really meet a lot of great people in our community. I don't think I would have ever had that opportunity had I not done it. So even though, you know, winning and losing, it's bittersweet, but I had a really positive experience. So I'm really grateful for that. And so, and as many of you know, I don't want to get emotional, but I had 2 deaths in my family. So in light of that, you know, the campaign seems really, you know, minute, you know, just minuscule, you know, so it's not top of the priority list in my mind. So, but I do want to thank the district for supporting me with my sister, the loss of my sister. And I also lost my nephew. So I just thank you for your support. And I would love to adjourn in their memory. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. I too would like to welcome Trustee Pearl. I know that campaigning, and I think we'll all agree, is not easy. It's very difficult. I know Trustee Aguilar have a conversation about when people are very negative to you, when they don't even know you, they pass judgment on you. And that's, you know, you got to go to the next door and knock on that door and be all positive. And it's really, really challenging. So congratulations on a job well done. And you're going to find we're a great group. Not a good group, a great group. We have our differences, but we don't air them in public. You know, we have great discussions and meaningful discussions because at the end of the day, we are all here for the students and the students alone. And I can honestly say that. So welcome. I look forward to Thursday, the leadership gathering. That's going to be fun. I hope everyone has a great break and happy holidays, however you may celebrate it. Okay. All right. Our next meeting is Tuesday, January the 10th, followed by one of our favorites, celebrating schools on Tuesday, January the 24th, which you look forward. And I believe Trustee Tate, you want to make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, thank you. So I'd like to adjourn the meeting in the memory of my sister, Tamika Nicole Williams Clark, and my nephew, Theodore Cornelius Atkins. So thank you.
Second.
I'll second that.
Motion moved by Trustee Tate in memory of her sibling and seconded by Trustee Sheridan.
President Oshinsky,
Yes.
Vice President Tate,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sheridan,
Yes.
Trustee Aguilar, Trustee Gonzalez, Trustee Pearl,
Yes.
Trustee Prola, Trustee Proctor.
Meeting adjourned.